All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Lantern TV Sports Basketball Preview Show. I'm your host, Casey Smith, and to my right, sports editor Jack Emerson, and to my left, assistant sports editor Jacob Benge. We're here previewing number 18 Ohio State against Minnesota, 8:30 p.m. Tuesday at the Schottenstein Center, where the Buckeyes are 10-0 on the year. That game will be broadcast on the Big Ten Network. Ohio State enters the game 15-6, 8-4 in the Big Ten. Minnesota, they're on a little bit of a skid. They're 12-10, 3-10 in the Big Ten. And just last game, Jack, Ohio State, they get the big quad one road win against Michigan, 68-57, led by E.J. Liddell's 28 points. They limited the turnovers on the offensive end, and they held Michigan to only 34.5% from the field on the offensive end in the second half.
Yeah, it was just a great performance from E.J. Liddell. And, you know, Chris Holtmann talked about it after the game. He went on his little 1.5 minute, 2 minute spiel about how EJ should be in that conversation for Big Ten Player of the Year. And I mean, after a performance like that, it's hard to argue. I mean, 28 points. He was 11-11 from the free throw line, where he shot about 78% this year. So, you know, obviously he stepped it up in that aspect. And, you know, he was just dominant. 3 blocks. He does what he does on the defensive end. He does things on all ends of the floor. And I think Ryan Peden talked about that a lot today, where it's EJ's not just a scorer. He's a guy that's going to get you like 3 to 4 assists per game. He's going to get you 3 blocks a game. He's going to do these things that, you know, help winning. And I think another guy you saw against Michigan was Cedric Russell, who really did the little things to get the win. You know, he had some timely buckets, obviously that huge drawn charge towards the end of the game to really flip the momentum. But yeah, I mean, you got to give EJ his flowers because he was just fantastic on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. And Ohio State, they're starting to fire on all cylinders in the Big Ten schedule. A team that isn't, like I mentioned, that skid in the open is Minnesota. They're 3-10 in the conference. And just a couple numbers on the rundown for Minnesota. They're 96th in the net. So this would be a quad 3 game for Ohio State. The Buckeyes this year, they're 5-0 in quad 3 games. They're really taking advantage of lesser opponents. They're 99th in the Ken Pomeroy adjusted efficiency metric, while Ohio State ranks 21st. And they're led by sort of like a top 2 tandem at the top of their offense, Jacob, and Jamison Battle and Peyton Willis. And Minnesota, their last game, they snapped a 5-game losing streak with a 76-70 victory over Penn State at the Barn. They scored 76 points, which is the most they've scored in conference play this year. And they were led by Eric Curry, who had a career-high 22 points, and Peyton Willis, who had an 18-point, get this, it's not a traditional double-double, 18 points and 10 assists. You'd expect that rebound number to be in the double digits, but he's able to dish it a little bit. Jacob, what have you seen from Minnesota this season, and what do you expect from him?
Well, you know, Casey, we were just talking about E.J. Liddell, and last time E.J. Liddell played Minnesota, he posted a double-double. I believe he had 23 points and 15 rebounds. That went towards the overarching story of Ohio State's rebounding game against Minnesota. They had 48 rebounds against this Golden Gophers team to Minnesota's 22. So obviously, if they're going to be able to at least replicate that in some way, rebounding may be of emphasis for Ohio State. You also mentioned how they're going to get Eric Curry back. That's going to impact the starting lineup and how Ohio State attacks them game plan-wise. But I think it's also going to be another one of E.J. Liddell's nights. I'm personally curious if Cedric Russell can continue his momentum off the bench, because when he shoots it, you know, he's got a lot of confidence behind each shot he takes. So, you know, Ohio State, Chris Holtmann mentioned it earlier on his radio show that when you see a team twice in the same season, they're going to be different. They already have taken a look at the film. They're going to make their adjustments, but so is Ohio State. I don't expect Ohio State to maybe snag 48 rebounds, but it's going to take more than maybe 4 guys who scored double digits last time out against Minnesota to kind of impact Minnesota's lineup that also had 4 guys reach double figures to counteract those defensive adjustments, offensive adjustments, and the addition of Eric Curry.
Yeah, for sure. And you were talking about rebounding being a big emphasis. The Golden Gophers, they're led by Jamison Battle, who at 6'7", he leads them with 134 rebounds this year, Jack. Who is a guy for Ohio State that you see being able to limit those numbers, maybe give Ohio State some second chance opportunities, and especially getting defensive rebounds, because Minnesota, they rank towards the bottom of the country in offensive rebounding percentage.
I think someone you're going to have to look at is Zed Key. You know, he had 8 boards against them last time, 5 of those on the defensive side, 12 points against them. You know, if the Buckeyes are going to win this game, they're probably going to try to do it in a similar fashion than they did whenever they played last. I don't remember the exact date. But regardless, they're going to attack the paint and they're going to play off second chance opportunities. They're going to play off, Minnesota's big, see what they're doing down low and kind of taking advantage of that. And I think that's where you bring Zed Key. He just gets that low post position and he's unstoppable when he gets on that block. He's just really hard to stop. And I mean, honestly, when he's missing shots, it's almost like he's missing them himself. It's not really like the contest is really doing much. So that's the interesting thing about him. I think he's a sophomore that's really starting to figure out that, hey, I've got this ability. And I think we're going to see it come out tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. E.J. Liddell really took that leap in the sophomore year. Zed Key could be taking that leap as well. And we'll have all the coverage for you for number 18 Ohio State against Minnesota, 8:30 p.m. Tuesday on the Big Ten Network at the Schottenstein Center. We'll have all the coverage for you there. Until next week, take care. I'm Casey Smith, Jack Emerson, Jacob Benge. We'll see you next week.